Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I am here today to do a gargantuan monster book haul. At least by my standards it is, because I don't think I've ever done a book haul with this many books to talk about. I have 38 books. Having said that, I have accumulated them over the last several months, so it's not like I went out yesterday and bought them all. So that's one thing I can say. A note at the beginning, I am a completist. I have OCD when it comes to books, and if I find an author that I like, I tend to try and get as many books by them as I can. So there are a few instances where there are several books by the same author, and in that case, I will just go through them really quickly. Um, but having said that, I think it's safe to say that this video is probably going to be long. So strap yourselves in, and let's get started. First book I wanted to mention, I'm actually not sure if I have talked about this and told you guys that I already had this, because I did get it quite a while ago. I've already read it, and unfortunately, it's a book that was very disappointing, and so I'm not going to say very much about it, and it is Oblivion by Kelly Cray. This is the third and last book in her Nevermore series, which is a series that I absolutely freaking loved, and I have talked about a lot on this channel. And this book was delayed several times, and it finally came out. And unfortunately, I didn't like it that much. The next several books, let me see, 11 books are by the same author. I actually have one more book, but I've loaned it out to someone, so I don't have it here to show you. But again, since they're all by the same author, I'm just going to go through them really quickly. His books are not always the easiest to read. I've yet to read a book or a short story by this man that I didn't like, and it is Neil Gaiman, and this is an example, American Gods. I have been reading this book off and on, probably most of the year. I'm still only halfway through. I'm on page 282. And when I say that his writing can be difficult at times, this is a prime example of that. It's a beautifully written book. It's very sort of lyrical, as most of his books are. It's just it's a lot to take in. He wrote one of my all-time, probably top 3 favorite books, which is Good Omens by Terry Pratchett, and that's the book that I have loaned to somebody else. But yeah, so I have American Gods, which I'm very excited about the TV series that's coming from this. I hope they don't screw it up. That's all I'm going to say. I also have, this is a bunch of short stories called The View from the Cheap Seats, Fragile Things, Smoke and Mirrors, Trigger Warning. I especially like listening to the audio versions of his books that he narrates himself, because I love his speaking voice, and he is just able to capture the feeling and the mood of the stories when he reads them himself. The Graveyard Book, Coraline. Anybody who likes Neil Gaiman has to have Coraline. The Ocean at the End of the Lane, Stardust, and then I have my 2 copies of this book, Neverwhere, which was the first book that I ever read by him years and years and years and years ago. And I got this puppy from the Book Depository, which is the illustrated version of Neverwhere, and it's gorgeous. It is so freaking gorgeous. Oh my god. I have to show you some of the... A Darker Shade of Magic, and A Gathering of Shadows by V.E. Schwab. I read this one last year. It was one of my favorite books of 2015. I have yet to read this one. I'm sort of waiting for the third and final book to come out because, as you know, I don't tend to like to start series that are in the process, like before they finish, or they have like more than 3 or 4 books in the series, because I hate waiting. But I love these covers. They're gorgeous. And I've yet to start this series, but I'm a big fan of her writing to begin with. And it's Maggie Stiefvater, and I got the Raven Boys series, again with the British covers. So, Raven Boys, Dream Thieves, Blue Lily, Lily Blue, The Raven King, and this is probably my favorite cover of hers that I've ever seen. It's so pretty. I love blue. Blue and red are my two favorite colors for covers, and I just think it's pretty. And then the other book that I got by her, simply because I was not a fan of this book. I was not a huge fan of this book. I did read it a few years ago when it first came out. I got it mainly because I love the cover, and it's Scorpio Races. And unfortunately, I was really bummed because the cover is like mangled. But it, for some reason, took a really long time for me to get this book from the Book Depository, and I didn't want to go through the hassle of like sending this one back and waiting for another one. So it's still pretty. I just like put my hand there so you can't really see that it's mangled. And I thought the sound of this book, the plot, and the synopsis that I read of this book sounded really interesting to me, so I thought I'd give it a chance. And I'm really glad that I did because I quite enjoyed it. It was really, really good. It was very, very long, and it took me a while. It took me about a month to read it, but I really enjoyed it. And it is The Fireman by Joe Hill. Yeah. I told a friend of mine that I was thinking of getting this book, and she's like, he's basically ripping off his father's Firestarter book, which is not true, actually. The only thing they have in common is that it deals with sort of fire. Basically, the gist of this book, if I can remember correctly, is it is about the end of the world, and you think they're going to go into sort of like the zombie mode, but they don't really do that. They have this disease called dragon scale, which when you get it, you get these sores on your arms and on your body that resembles dragon scales. And when you get it, at any moment, without warning, you can just burst into flames. So people who have dragon scale are sort of considered pariahs, and society sort of collapses. And it's just really interesting and just like a very unique storyline, and I really, really liked it. I also picked up Nosferatu, also by Joe Hill. I like the concept of it sort of being a demented version of Christmas, like Christmas Land, I think it's called. Yes, Christmas Land, where these people get taken to this place called Christmas Land, and they can never leave, and every day is Christmas. And it also has illustrations, which, as you guys know, I love books that have illustrations. And of course, now I can't find any to show you. We'll settle on that. It's An Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir. This is, again, it's sort of unique storytelling. It's not just the sort of same rehashed YA fantasy. I really liked how it was structured. I liked the characters. I liked how complex everything was. And it was just really, really awesome. And I also got the sequel, which I have not yet read yet. A Torch Against the Night. So, again, another book that I hope to read by the end of the year. The main reason why I have been able to get back into reading over the last 2 months or so is 1000% due to this author. I'm not going to say too much about him because I plan on doing sort of a series review video, even though I haven't completed the series yet. But it's different, it's funny, and it's probably the most entertaining books that I've read, not only all year, but in a really, really long time. And the author is Tim Dorsey, and the first book that I found by him was this, which is called Nuclear Jellyfish, and it is book 11, I'm thinking, in this series. And if you guys know me, you know I'm very, like I said, OCD about books, and I tend to try and read from the beginning and in order. But I found this book, and at the time that I found this book, I was pretty much desperate to find something that would hold my interest. And I got this book for like $2 at a grocery store, and I read it in less than 24 hours, and I was hooked on the entire series. And I think I've read like about 8 books in the series in the last 2 months, and was very, 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 very lucky to be able to find all but the latest book in the series on eBay for like $25. I know, I couldn't believe it. And there's like 18 books in the series. There's 19 books total, but I have 18 because I don't have the newest book, because I'm waiting till it comes out in paperback. But yeah, he is a great, great author, And his books take place in Florida, which is where I grew up, and so a lot of the places he talks about are places that I remember. And the main character, there are a lot of characters in these books, and some of them sort of go in and out of each book, and they appear several times. But the main character is this guy named Serge Storms, who is very cheerful, very happy, very charming, and also has a lot of problems. He's got ADD, he's obsessive compulsive, and he also happens to be a serial killer. I kind of, when I try to explain these books to people, I say it's sort of like Dexter meets Robin Williams, which is a weird combination, but it makes sense in my brain because he's Dexter in the fact that he kills people, but he believes he kills only bad people, people who deserve to be killed, who have done bad things to people. But he's also very funny and outrageous and crazy and just an amazing character. And at this particular point in time, he's probably my favorite character in fiction. But I'm not going to sit here and show you 18 books. I just want to show you this one because it's the first one that I read by him. But I wanted to show you a couple other ones. So there's this, Gator A Go-Go, Electric Barracuda, and probably one of my favorite titles for a book that I've come across, and it is When Elves Attack. It is Crooked Kingdoms by Leigh Bardugo, and I love the cover. I also love the red pages, and it smells really good too. This thing is huge. Okay, N.K. Jemisin, and this is the Inheritance trilogy. This is the first 3 books that she wrote, and it's in a bind-up, and it's 1,500 pages, but it's gorgeous, and yes, I love it. And she's a great author. I also got The 5th Season. This is the book that won the Hugo Award. And then the second book in that series is called The Obelisk Gate. Then I also got her first 2 books, which was a duology that I've heard nothing but great things about. And it is The Killing Moon and The Shadowed Sun. The weird thing about these books, none of them have a book smell to them. I don't understand. They don't smell like books. They smell like nothing. They don't even smell like paper. Very disappointing. Well, it's October, which is my favorite month in the year, and it's not because it's my birthday month. It's because of Halloween. I don't know if you can see this. I am wearing my Shaun of the Dead t-shirt. I love all things Halloween, spooky and scary, and several people suggested that I pick this book up. And it is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. I started reading it, or actually I just started flipping through it a little bit, and it is very strange. Very strange. It's very sort of structured in an odd way, like some pages only have 1 or 2 words on them. Also, there's these sections that you kind of have to turn upside down and side to side in order to read. Plus, there are a lot of footnotes. Unlike most people, I actually really like footnotes in books, so there you go. And it's like 800 pages. But from what I gather, it is about a house and then a mysterious hallway that no one really knows where it leads to, just appears out of nowhere in the house, and it sounds really creepy. And if I'm able to get past sort of the weird structure of the book, I look forward to reading it. Okay, next up is a book that I've had on my sort of book bucket list for a few years, and I've never gotten around to buying it, but it is Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. This thing is enormous. It is like 1,100 pages, and it's very polarizing. Some people absolutely freaking love it and think it's the best book ever written, and other people think it's garbage and terrible. But I hope at some point to tackle this. We shall see. Next up is a book that I'm a little leery to read because I love the series that it is part of so much. It's kind of an unexpected 4th book in the series. And having said that, of course, I had to buy it as soon as it came out. And it is Feedback by Mira Grant. This is the very surprising 4th installment of the Newsflesh series, which anybody who watches my videos knows. The Newsflesh series has been my absolute favorite adult book series for years. I flew through the first 3 books in the span of maybe 4 or 5 days. And considering each book is like 600 pages, that's quite impressive if you ask me. But this book is the 4th book, and it deals with a completely new cast of characters. It's set during the same period as the first book in the series, which was Feed, but I don't know how I feel about it being about different characters. So I've kind of been a little leery about starting it, but I plan on starting it and reading it on my vacation next week. Only 2 more, guys. We're almost done. Okay, this book is another book that I've sort of put off reading. Actually, these last 3 books are the books that I plan on attempting to read while I'm on vacation. Let's see if I actually succeed. But I've had this for a while, and I've kind of put off reading it because I'm a little intimidated by it. But I do plan to at least start it during my vacation. And it is Nevernight. Nevernight by Jay Kristoff. I am a huge fan of his writing, and this book sounds badass. I read like the first 25 pages, and I like his style of writing. I am a huge fan of his writing. I think he's a brilliant storyteller, and this is sort of complicated, and I'm not going to sit here and try to explain what the plot is about, but it's about sort of like a stealth assassin / badass ninja chick, and I'm excited to read it. Okay, guys, now we're to the last book, and this is the book that I am most excited about. It is the book that I have waited for since last year, and it is hands down my most anticipated read of 2016. It just came today, 3 days early. Happy freaking birthday to me! Because this just arrived at my house less than an hour ago, and it is Jarina. At least I think that's how you say it. Which is the sequel to Illuminae, which was, as hopefully some of you know, Illuminae was my absolute hands down, far and away favorite book of 2015. I gushed about that book so much, and I have been dying to get my hands on this book since last year, and I'm so excited to have it. It's so pretty. It is by Jay Kristoff, who also wrote this book as well. And Amy Kaufman, and much like Illuminae, it has like the shiny, super shiny cover with the cutouts, and then the actual book itself. Oh my god. And again, I'm not going to flip through because I don't want to spoil myself, but it is like Illuminae, told through like emails and text messages and all kinds of strange stuff. And oh my god, I cannot freaking wait. It is taking all of my willpower not to start it now, but I am going to start it Friday night when my vacation officially starts, and I cannot wait. I would put down any book by any other author, just like stop reading it immediately in order to read this book. That's how excited I am. I bless you if you actually sat through this entire thing. Thank you so much for watching. I am planning on doing at least 2 or 3 more videos over the course of the next few weeks. Hopefully, put that out there. It is my intention to do so. So, thank you for watching. If you have any questions about any of the books that I've shown you, just leave me your question in the drop-down box. I'm trying to wrap this up really quickly because this video is really long. Okay, so I will talk with you later, guys. Thank you for watching. Happy reading, guys. Thank you.